Imagine if taking just one supplement can change your life forever without changing your lifestyle, without changing anything else. Just taking one supplement. 90 plus years of age, Dr. Gifford-Jones embodies what it means to live in health and longevity. This interview with Dr. Gifford-Jones will dive into his personal journey, groundbreaking research and philosophy on preventative medicine, and the unconventional wisdom that's kept him thriving. Hi, Dr. Gifford-Jones. Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Really good to have you here.
My pleasure, Neil.
Yeah. So, just curious, you're a Harvard man, right? You said?
Right.
Right. So, how did studying at Harvard shape your approach to healthcare and patient care?
I think, Neil, the two main things would be that I was really most lucky to be admitted to the Harvard Medical School. I was the only Canadian in the class. And I was there with brilliant teachers, 4 years of. And then I went back to Harvard for surgical training. So I had the best of two worlds. And so as I say, I was very lucky to be there. And I don't believe that there was anything I could have done in my life more better than being a surgeon and also being a medical journalist. The combination was super, and it gave me an opportunity to follow a career I liked as a surgeon, and I had great surgical training. I think I became a darn good surgeon. But on the other hand, I haven't had 1 ounce of journalistic training. And so, of course, some of my colleagues would say that Dr. Gifford-Jones, that's quite obvious. But, I struggled through writing a common sense column. And I guess I fooled my editors for over 50 years.
That's good. Yeah. So how did writing a medical column for over 50 years impact the way that you view public health and patient education?
Well, I think in terms of patient education, one of the great professors at the Harvard Medical School said, the secret of caring for the patient is caring for the patient and being honest about it with your patients. And I think that was about it. Matter of fact, we had one Hungarian professor who spoke with a very Hungarian accent. The final class we had at the Harvard Medical School was with him preaching to us. And he said, remember, make your patient feel like he was the only, make your patient feel like he was the only Z pedal on the beach. And I thought that was good training. Making your patients feel like they were the only pebble on the beach, and you're emphasizing your care with them and how you can be helpful to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, making the patient, like the focus, which is the whole reason for getting into medicine in the first place.
That's
At
right.
least, yes, at least it was for me anyways. Like taking care of the patient is the only reason why we're there, right? You're not taking care of disease, you're taking care of the patient.
And there's a lot of, you can tell doctors whether they're good or bad, whether they care for the patient. And I think many doctors go into medicine because they do care for the patient and they dedicate their lives for the patient. But there are some doctors that I don't think should ever be doctors because they do not care enough for the work that they're doing and with their patients.
Yeah, that's true with anything that you do, though, too, right? There's people that are passionate about what they do, and you can tell what they're passionate about and the reason for being there, right?
Very, very definitely. Very definitely.
Yeah. So let's go back to your articles and your books. So which book or article, if you can narrow it down to just to one, if that's possible, I don't know if you can, but what book or article are you most proud of?
Well, I guess the one would be you're going to do what? And the title of that book was, as you know, I've already told you, I've had no journalistic training in my life. And one night I arrived home after a busy day at the office, and I pulled out a little stand we had, a writing stand, and I got some blank paper and I started writing. And this was about 6 months after I'd been married. And finally, my new wife said to me, "What are you doing, Ken?" And I said, "I'm writing a book." And she burst out laughing and said, "You can't write a book. You've never had any training in writing a book, and you just can't do it." And that was a real come down for my newly wedded wife. No confidence in me at all.
Yeah, just right out of the gate, no confidence in you.
And
Yeah.
Neil, she was right, because over a period of about a year, I couldn't find a publisher in Canada or the United States. And it was one rejection after another. And one day I was walking across the campus, having returned, picked up one of the books, and I noticed there was a building on the far side of the campus, the University of Toronto Press, and I'd never been there. And I thought, well, I know they were primarily interested in classical works, not my style. But anyway, I knocked on their door, and lo and behold, the director of the University of Press happened to be there, and looked at the book and said, uh, I think you got an idea here. I'd like to give it some more thought. Why don't, why don't we go up to the Park Plaza and have lunch? And then later on in the afternoon, we'll talk with my co-editor. And so that was the first person who had ever taken me for lunch writing a book. And anyway, we went up to the Park Plaza, back to his office, met his associate, and they decided right then and there they were going to publish. And that was my first note of getting any recognition. And when you write a book, the first book, it's like, men can't have babies, but they can have books. And having a new book landed on your desk when all of a sudden you see there it is, it's like it's the best thing we have to not having babies.
Yeah, because you put your heart and soul into it, right? That's your life in your hands.
Yes, and it had not been easy, and it certainly had not been easy.
Well, yeah, having no actually official training in writing, yeah, it definitely would be a challenge.
I really should have divorced my wife.
Yeah. That's okay. I'm not getting into that. That's a rabbit hole I'm not going down.
And
Although,
I might say my wife is 68 years is still around.
yeah,
Thank God for
yeah,
that.
yeah, and you guys are still going strong. So
Yes.
that's really incredible.
And she was a graduate in English at a U.S. school, Wellesley College, and she has literally read every book I've ever published, every article in the newspaper I published, so that she's been a great help. She'll say you got to have a comma there, and then you can't have a comma there. So I've been well trained.
Oh, that's so good. Having that kind of support too, right? Have that to have your biggest fan be your critic, but also the biggest support.
Yeah, she often says you can't say that, and I take it out, but when she's not looking, I sometimes put it back in.
Yeah, yeah, you're so sneaky, eh? Just throw it back in there. I want it in, I'll put it back in. Yeah. But you also had the privilege of interviewing Dr. Linus Pauling.
Yes, that was a great interview. I've interviewed a great number of people around the world, and there's absolutely no doubt that Linus Pauling was the best interview of all. Here I was, just knowing a little bit about biochemistry, and here I was talking to a Nobel Prize winner. Matter of fact, two Nobel Prize winners, and I spent 2 hours in the Royal York Hotel, the first interview, and when he came back to Toronto, I spent another 2 hours with him, and here I was talking to a Nobel Prize winner for 4 hours with him. I was very
4 hours. Wow.
and so he taught me that vitamin C was really what I've already mentioned in a column, the forever vitamin, because it really encompasses so many health problems, and he was convinced that the great number of people who are having heart attacks was related to being deficient in vitamin C, and uh, and so I started taking vitamin C after I had a heart attack when I was 74. And my doctors all said I'm an absolute idiot if I don't take cholesterol-lowering drugs. But I also knew that cholesterol-lowering drugs were associated with a variety of medical complications, being being not being able to tell who you were sometimes. And the doctor that I got to know in Texas, who was in the space program, and after being on a cholesterol-lowering drug for a few months, he went home one night and didn't recognize his wife or his children,
Mm.
and he was thought by the doctors at the medical school there that he might have a brain tumor or whatever. But they
Right.
did every test in the book and found nothing. So they took him off cholesterol drugs, and a few weeks later he was back to normal. So that that taught me a lesson, and I decided I would take high doses of vitamin C rather than cholesterol drugs. The doctors were not amused, but for the last 27 years now, I've been taking 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C daily, and I'm still around. And all the doctors who told me I would be dead in a few years, they're all dead.
Yeah.
And so taking vitamin C has been been one of the things that has helped me more in my own life. I don't really think I would be here right now if I hadn't started high doses of vitamin C. And I can't prove that, but I'm here, and a lot of other people don't get to 101.
That's so true. But there's been a lot of research into vitamin C, and I've read articles. It was 14 years ago. I read articles on vitamin C and lower, and especially when it's related to endothelial dysfunction,
That's
can
right.
actually restore that back into your arteries.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, the other research that I became aware of, um, and he had written an article in a rather obscure medical journal that he was an optometrist and using contact lens, of course. But he also found that after using a contact lens in some patients, they would get an infection under the implant, and So had done a lot of reading about vitamin C and Linus Pauling, and he decided he would give 6,000 milligrams of vitamin C and 5,000 milligrams of lysine to all patients who were being fitted with a contact lens. But the most important thing he did was take a picture of the back part of the retina. And that's the only part of the only part where you can really see arteries and veins. And then after a year, he took another photo of the retina, and to his surprise, he not only found that there were no eye infections under the lens, but he really should be given credit for the next discovery. He discovered that the atherosclerosis, that the hardening of the arteries in the arteries, uh, was gradually diminishing. In other words, he was the first person I know that could prove that if you take high doses of vitamin C, you will find a gradual uh, decrease in the amount of atherosclerosis in the coronary arteries. Now, I should add that vitamin C is not like Drano, that you can give a few bits of Drano to the kitchen sink, and it cures the problem. With vitamin C, it takes about six months before you see gradual decrease in the atherosclerosis. So if I was a member of the Nobel Prize Committee, he should be given the Nobel Prize in medicine for that. It was I think, a phenomenal discovery, and unfortunately, it never gained interest with the doctors in Britain. And I suppose he used to tell me that why would you be interested in my research when you can do bypass operations for a few $1,000s, and why would I want to be out of business? So he never really became very popular, and he also, I told him on one occasion that he should have read How to Win Friends and Influence People, because he could never get the backing of the cardiologists or surgeons in England. But anyway, I flew over to England with one of my sons and spent 3 days with him. And he would show me before and after pictures, And there was I was not a trained ophthalmologist, but he certainly pointed out to me that there was thinning of the atherosclerosis in the coronary arteries. And as I say, that was a huge finding. So we corresponded after a visit to England for several years. Unfortunately, he died a few years ago, and never got the recognition that he deserves.
Mm. So people that had that arthrosclerosis that was being dissolved, I guess, the best way to put it. Did they change? Do we know if they changed their diet in any way, like changed their lifestyle? Because if you're just taking vitamin C and not changing anything else, I couldn't imagine that impacting.
Well, you're wrong. It did have an impact,
No.
and there was no change in the diets of these people, exercise or what have you. But mind you, exercising and not smoking and other things are beneficial to your health. But the only thing he did was high doses of vitamin C, and he was taking 20,000 milligrams at times, and as was Linus Pauling taking 20,000 milligrams.
20,000.
20,000.
Wow.
It sounds like a hell of a lot of vitamin C, and I've taken one hell of a lot of vitamin C.
Yeah.
And it's kept the last time I had my eyes examined about 6 months ago, I said, really, what does my retina look like? He said, you have no degeneration in anywhere of the coronary arteries. So I think it's kept my eyesight pretty good and kept me alive.
Yeah. And then you also do you do walking as well?
Not now, because when we get to my 101, I don't do much walking, but I walk around the condominium here. But
Right.
I used to. Yeah, I played tennis, I played baseball, I played hockey, and I've done trap shooting. I've been in sports for a lot of years.
Yeah, and what would you say that what role do you believe lifestyle choices and diet and exercise play in health?
A huge amount, huge amount. You, you know, in the book that I've just written about being here in a retirement residence, one of the an interview in the book, in the first page, is Shakespeare quote from Shakespeare, and it reads, "The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves." And that really tells the message of the book. In the retirement home here, people invariably eat too much. They develop obesity, and of course, they develop type 2 diabetes along the way. I think the great uh, problem that we're having in medicine and I might say for the future, obesity, I believe, is the number one thing that kills most people rather than heart disease. Because when you have an obese patient over the years, they are 95% of the type 2 diabetes are obese. And we could, if everyone, if everyone would buy a scale, Neil, buy a
Mm.
scale and step on the damn scale every day, and if they see their weight going up, diet and keep it down. We could literally wipe out type 2 diabetes. And of course, diabetes is not only no, not only is it due to the coronary attacks, it also means that people develop kidney disease, kidney failure, and over the age of 60, the leading cause of blindness is diabetes, and it's a great tragedy that there was a recent newspaper article that says in the indigenous people of Canada, bilateral leg complications are, are fantastically high. And so when you add up blindness and type 2 diabetes causing kidney disease and the leg amputation, this is costing our healthcare system one hell of a lot of money. And it's all about lifestyle, not exercising and not drinking too much. I think drinking a little bit is okay. And I have rum every day with my wife, and I'm still alive. But I don't overdrink, and just social drinking with my wife, and you know that alcohol does expand the blood vessels. It increases the good cholesterol, and it also makes you feel a little better in these messy times we're having right now.
Yeah, and so going back to your high doses of vitamin C, you developed a formulation in your product Cardiovibe,
Right.
but it's not only just vitamin C that's in there too. You have lysine, magnesium,
And,
coenzyme Q10,
and proline.
and proline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And helps to increase the strength of the arterial wall. Uh, Vitamin C helps to manufacture collagen, and collagen in the arterial wall is the same as putting together a high-rise building and keeping it from falling down, making it structurally sound with iron, with the steel girders. And so when you take vitamin C and lysine and these other products, it strengthens the arterial wall, not only prevents you from having a coronary attack, but because of the strength of the arterial wall, it's less likely to rupture, causing a stroke. So you get a double whammy on that one.
Yeah, you get the strength building of the lysine. You
That's
get
right.
the inflammation reducing effects from vitamin C, and you get the protective of the magnesium and the coenzyme Q10 too.
You bet.
And
It's
it's
a
all
combination.
so not only does it protect against heart disease, then it can also help in other ailments too that actually are caused by chronic inflammation.
Well, when you remember, Neil, when you take a vitamin C pill, you can't say, just go to my coronary arteries or my liver or what have you. It circulates through the entire circulatory system so that really what you're doing, you're making your heart stronger, but you're making all your other organs stronger too.
Yeah, it's helping out the supporting actors in your body,
That's what
right?
I say. Vitamin C is the forever vitamin.
Yeah, because you can't just take one dose and think, "Oh, I'm cured." No, you got to take it every day. It's part of like exercise and eating right, right? It's an everyday thing.
And the other thing you have to watch out for when you're taking high doses of vitamin C, if you reach a dose where it causes diarrhea, and when that happens, you just cut back on the amount you're taking. Matter matter of fact, when I was talking with Linus Pauling, uh, he said, doctor, I've got to tell you something else that it's good for. He said, I take 20,000 milligrams of vitamin C at bedtime. And he said, I'm never constipated, never constipated.
Mm.
So and it's also interesting that when I go down to the nursing station here at the Dunfield residence, I've said over and over again to the staff, how do you treat constipation in here? We use the usual laxatives. So I said, well, why don't you try just increasing the amount of my vitamin C, and it won't kill anyone, and it will cure the constipation. Start out with 2,000 milligrams at bedtime, and if that doesn't work, try 4,000 milligrams at bedtime the following night, and I'm sure it's going to work. But if it doesn't, try 6,000. I know
Yeah.
it's going to work.
So
But
then you're
they don't do it. They're still handing out laxatives.
yeah, but also the doctors when they order vitamin C, they order 500 milligrams.
That's right, 250 or 500. It's not enough.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, getting back, I hate to keep getting back to Pauling, but he used to say to me too, what I really want to say to the doctors is, it's the dose is stupid. It's the dose is stupid. You cannot you cure a headache with a small aspirin, and you also can't cure cardiovascular disease with just 60 milligrams of vitamin C a day. You've got to get into the thousands of vitamin C, and really that thousand is it's got to be 2,000. And if you can remind yourself, it should better be in divided doses 3 times during the day. 2,000. Take some at breakfast, one in the afternoon, and one at bedtime. And why? Because vitamin C is a water soluble vitamin, and we lose every time we urinate. We lose some vitamin C. So better to take it in 3 doses rather than one.
Yeah, and that's what's good about your product, your Cardiovibe, is that you could just mix it in with water, so you're getting hydration. Plus, you're getting all these benefits of all the supplements that you have in there.
That's
And I
right.
looked at your product list, the ingredients, and it's actually that would, if you able to take those supplements on their own, that's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But your product is a lot cheaper than that.
Our product is much cheaper than the prescription medication.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And for the people who say it's costly, the best retort is that is maybe it saves you from it's a cheap insurance policy to keep alive, and the price of vitamin C is it's not expensive.
No. You also have a quote that I like to share. It's like you said that we each must take responsibility for our own destiny, and a faulty lifestyle is no one's fault but one's own.
That's right. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars; is in ourselves.
Right. So,
Uh,
what advice would you give people?
Well, my advice would be to live a healthy lifestyle. Don't wait until you're 70 years of age to start it. Start it with, hopefully you have smart parents who will yourself thin, exercise, and to have a decent diet. Most people are drinking too much Diet Coke, or rather the regular Coke, and they're putting on too much weight, developing obesity and type 2 diabetes. I remember when I was in London once, and interviewing a doctor in London, and I went into the Canterbury Cathedral on a Sunday morning, and I noticed the kids coming down the aisle. They were chubby kids. They were from smart families, but they were at that age. You could see they were on their way to becoming obese and develop all the problems associated with it. So really, you got to have a damn good lifestyle forever, and
Yeah,
not get sloppy. And I cannot help but repeating to you, Neil. You should. Anyone who doesn't have a bathroom scale is on the road to obesity. You got to
I have
step
one.
on it every damn day.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't check it every day.
But you look in good shape, Neil.
Yeah, no, I'm getting there slowly but surely. It's a lifestyle. It's a marathon, right?
But you also have to remember that when we talk about lifestyle, you have to talk about having some luck with life too. You got to have the luck of the Irish. You have some people who they do all the right things. They don't do anything bad. They eat well. They exercise, etc., etc., and die of a woman cancer of the breast, and for men cancer of the prostate, and they've done everything right. But you got to have a luck of the Irish to get to 101.
Yeah, and you've done that. You're
Uh,
there and still going strong. So,
Still writing.
yeah, you're still writing, still doing your thing. Well, Dr. Gifford-Jones, I really appreciate you showing up and sharing all this with us today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure being with you, Neil. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you.